So Ollie, not many people know this, but at one point in your life, you were on the road or you were a professional cyclist. Am I correct?
Yeah. I was racing for one of the UK's top teams, elite teams, and I raced all around Europe and on like the professional circuit. So
Did
got that
you?
experience in the bag.
So like when you do these things, obviously you've got to put yourself in a certain mental headspace and also a certain physical headspace. And I
Yeah.
know from other conversations off camera with you that some of it was quite grueling, especially with the weight loss and stuff like that. How did you sort of feel about that? Were you nervous at any point? Were you worried about your health, or did you just think, nah, this is just what I've got to do to be the best?
No, I mean, you kind of get into like a mindset of that devotion. You kind of you get on track. You have this mindset that okay, this is what I've got to do to succeed. Therefore, I'm going to do it. There's no question in your mind that being skinny as a rake up top and then hench on the bottom, that's a weird thing, because it's that is what you're going for, because that's the best possible performance. That means that you will achieve your goals, you'll get your dream contract, you'll win races, you do what it takes to succeed.
I think discipline's one of those things, and I believe that it does link in with confidence, because it's one of those things when you're disciplined, sometimes you wake up every day and you're like, oh, why don't I just lie in, or why don't I just not go to the gym? And then you do those weeks without being disciplined and you immediately start to miss discipline. And I think the disciplined people always tend to win the race, because being disciplined as opposed to being motivated, when you're disciplined, you do things all the time that you don't have to do and you don't want to do, but you do them anyway. Being motivated is just doing something you want to do, and I think that's the difference. I'm sure you didn't want to eat certain foods and have to sit on a strict diet the whole time, but you had that goal in mind and you had the confidence in yourself that if I could do all these different things, I will get to the spot I need to be.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that I was fortunate going into cycling because I came from a rowing background before I went into cycling, and that gave me that discipline for really getting in that right headspace, and that they trained us hard when I was rowing. You don't become national champion or anything without training and trying hard, and people really like sort of abusing your mind a bit, because it is, I think that sport is 90% mental. And then I came into cycling with this mindset, and so I've been through teams, I've been through clubs, I've seen people come and go because they didn't have they better genes than me. They're probably, if they'd stuck with it, they would have been way better, but they didn't quite have the right headspace or the right determination. And that's what really kind of propelled me through to the upper echelons of cycling, is because I simply stuck with it and I knew, okay, this is what I've got to do. I've got to eat this diet. I didn't necessarily want to eat it from a point of view that I'm hungry. I get back from a ride, a really bad race, or it might be a 5-hour, 6-hour training ride where I burned something like 4,000 calories, 5,000 calories ride in a day, and I'm craving all this sugar and fat and all this, absolute junk food to put in me. And thinking back to it, that would have been probably better for my health. But from a performance point of view, I was thinking, okay, I don't want to eat that stuff because I need to succeed.
Yeah,
it was that drive, that need to succeed.
You had that goal in mind, you had that idea, and it is interesting you talk about the mental side, because I mean, when I've done the diets and stuff like that, you it's the same with confidence. You, in the day, you've got to put on that front that everything's okay, that you're fine, that you're training, that you're turning into a fucking animal, right? But I remember once I came home and I had my 2 bits of chicken ready and someone had knocked them over in the fridge. So I had to cook a whole new batch. And I put the oven on and I went upstairs and I just sat on my bed and I just wept. Like, because it was
soul destroying.
It was just such a soul destroying moment. Like, because I was craving that so badly. I was putting my body and my mind under so much pressure that when that little slip came, I really had to pull myself out of the rubble again, go downstairs, you know, gather my thoughts, and then get going after being punched in the head multiple times, etc., etc. So yeah, no, it's interesting. You're quite like me in the way that your degree is just like, you know, 1/10 of your real personality and your real career, because you know, you're just about to complete a master's, but at the same time you're DJing and you're tracks. What's that like for you, and why do you do? Why don't you just say, oh, I could just sit at home, do my degree, and just get sloshed every weekend and nothing else?
I mean, there is the temptation to do that, but me as a character, you know, so yeah, just a bit background. I'm just finishing a master's in mining geology at Camborne School of Mines at the minute, hence the geology picture behind me. And then I came from a brief career in TV. I was a professional cyclist. I was then I've gone into DJing and being a music producer as well, doing that at the same time. And you know, I'm one of those people that never sits still. I always need a project, and I feel that that's really been with me my entire life. You know, I've never been able to watch those 3-hour movies and like just straight and not be distracted and go and do something and like start a website or some business or some absolute sidetrack in my life. But I really feel that it gives me that kind of, you know, all these new projects and things, they're exciting. They give you a drive, they give you something to kind of work on. And I'm one of those people that has goals. You know, I have a goal. It's like with cycling. I thought, I'm going to be a professional cyclist. I'm going to be in a professional team. And, you know, I went through a lot of shit, but I got there in the end. I decided that I was going to do a master's in mining geology at CSM. And, you know, it's bloody difficult. You know, they're cramming like a 2-year course into one at one of the hardest mining schools in the world. And then, but you know, I'm here, I'm about to complete my thesis for that. I've done it. You know, everything in my life that I've achieved is because, like, even though it's difficult, I've got that goal. And it's just, you need that mindset to think, okay, no stopping until you get there.
I think quite a few people that I experience and I run into, though, they know that goal setting is important, but I think the way in which they're setting their goals is slightly flawed. So they might be setting these massive 5-year goals, and you know, they'll have that in mind. They're driven to do it, but rather than doing that, they're not setting the 2-day goals, right? Or the month.
Yeah, that's so important. That's so important. I mean, because it seems daunting if you don't set these small steps. Yeah, have an end goal. So you got to go up all the rungs of the ladder to get to the top of the building, you know?
Yeah, there's no cheating. I always compare it to, you know, like weight loss as well. Is one of the things where if you're 80 kg, you're not going to set yourself the goal of dropping down to, you know, 70. You're going to set yourself the goal of dropping down to, you know, 78 first, and then working from there, right? There's no cheating. You really do have to complete the tiny steps before you can see the big dream come to fruition, essentially. But yeah, with regards to DJ, so for all those listening, you will be very aware of it in a couple of weeks' time. But Ollie and I have a track coming out together, which was funny because I was actually on the phone to a mutual friend of ours last night, and I was saying to her that when you originally came up with the idea of getting me to rap over one of your tracks, I thought you were sort of joking. And then you sent me the beat, and I did something and didn't hear anything for 2 weeks. And he said, "Oh, one day, let me hear what you've done." And I went, "All right," did it. And then the next day, next couple of days, I hear all this clatter downstairs, and you brought a whole studio over to my house. You were like, "Come on, let's go." And now it's all coming together, and we're really excited about it. But just wanted to, what's your, obviously when you're relying on yourself, because when you're DJing, you're sort of relying on yourself, apart from the technology of whatever club you're in, right? Sort of relying on yourself. What's it like to collaborate? Not just with me, but in general. Do you get a bit more nervous because you don't know what that person's going to be like?
No, I mean, I think that there's different trains of thoughts with collaboration. I mean, I for one love it. I love collaborating with people because I like, as I was saying earlier on with me doing all these different projects all over the place and just having a mess of just stuff going on in my life, that I get bored and I like doing new things. And so doing collaborations with people is that opportunity to kind of branch out and explore their ideas and do something new that I wouldn't have thought up on my own. If I sit down and I make a track by myself, they obviously have my style to them because it's my mind making that track. But I love doing something with someone else because it takes a bit of them, it takes a bit of me, and it mashes it together into this love child of music.
Yeah, man. I feel that way as well with our collab. I was saying to you when we first started recording it, how I was slightly nervous with the whole mic setup, because I'm fine performing in front of hundreds of people, but you put me in front of a camera or you put me in front of a microphone, I'm sure shit might fuck it up. So
that's the other train of thought with collaborations, is like the thought, oh, am I going to fuck this up? Or are they going to fuck it up? There's that reliance on each other. That's why some people don't like it. I for one love it because I think this is just great fun. If you fail, so what? But you're still having fun with it. But yeah, it's interesting that you thought that.
Yeah, but I settled in quite quickly, and I was recounting on a time where the first time I went in a studio to do something like that was when I was 16, maybe a bit more nervous, not performed as much as I had now. But that also links in with the confidence. It's like you're not going to get the confidence by doing something once, right? You have to go in and do it a lot of times. I just want to touch on, it might be a sensitive topic for you, I'm not sure, but the idea of when you've prepared for something and when you're going into a big performance, or it doesn't have to be big in terms of crowd, but you've prepared a lot for something and the turnout isn't as good as it should have been, and there's less people there, because I've had that a couple of times. I know you've had that a couple of times. So what's that like? Does that put you on edge a bit more, or are you just quite happy to do what you're doing?
I mean, yeah, it's an interesting thought actually, because you do initially have I feel initially this thought of that's disappointing. You have these pangs of disappointment at the start, and you think, oh well, what's the point? But then about 5 minutes into the performance, or even like just 5 minutes into being there, you think all those thoughts go away. And you think, okay, yeah, this is just fun. Like, you have a great time doing what you're loving. You love DJing. I love DJing, you love rapping. And as long as you're doing something that you really enjoy, to be perfectly honest, I don't care how many people turn out. Some of my favorite nights have been where there's probably about 10 people. But it's so intimate, and you're just having a great time. You're kind of playing to them more. Everyone kind of knows you a bit better because there's less people, and you just have a great time with it. And that's what and you end up connecting with them more as well. You end up making them move, and that's the holy grail of art, to be honest. Whether it's music, DJing, whether it's painting a picture, whether it's a performance piece like acting, you know, it's making them feel something, making them move. And if you can do that, it doesn't matter how many people there are. If I can make one person in that crowd feel something, success.
Yeah, I think as well, it's you have confidence in your passion rather than confidence in the results of your passion, if you know what I mean. So
yeah,
for me as well, you know, there've been a couple of times where, you know, some people come up to me afterwards and they'll go, oh, that particular line on that particular track. It's like, especially with rapping, sometimes it can be tough because you got a lot of lyrics going on, and sometimes people are just there to hear sounds they like, not necessarily lyrics. So for someone to come up and commend you on something you've written shows they're actually listening, and that is something special. And yeah, I mean, it is interesting from that perspective. Did you ever have a bit of doubt though about what you're doing and how you're balancing your time? Because it's a question that I get asked a lot personally from people close to me, is do I have doubt that maybe I'm not putting the time into certain things that I should be, or like, how do you yourself?
Yeah, so sometimes I have doubts about thinking, okay, am I not putting enough time into this? Should I be just plying one of my projects off, one aspect of my life off, and thinking more of another? But at the end of the day, if you're being successful with it, then why change that, in my opinion? I mean, obviously if you bloody hate what you're doing, then don't do it. Quite frankly, if you hate it, there's no point in doing that. I mean, I've been in situations in my life where it's really humbled me to the point of, holy shit, I could have died right then. and therefore, if I was doing something that I didn't like when I died, then that's a waste of a life. You know, you've got to spend every minute, every day doing something that you enjoy. I mean, yeah, everyone has shit days. Yeah. I mean that we can't ignore that. You know, everyone has days where they're like, oh, I just can't be bothered. Oh, I hate this, I hate that. And yeah, you have to put in a lot of hard work to be successful. But as long as you enjoy the end goal, the end result, the path, you have something in your life where you're just like, yeah, this is great, I bloody love this. Then yeah, I mean, so if you think like, oh, I'm spending too much time on one thing over another, just think, okay, what would happen if I did change these times? You know, what would happen? You know, and be realistic about it. Don't be like, oh, I might become a superstar DJ if I spend all my time DJing. No. It's just you just got to be realistic. Yeah, I fucking love it. I love DJing, but I'm not gonna waste everything else that I got going on. I mean, because one day maybe I'll get tired of it and I'll hate it. So you know, you've got to find a balance.
It's all about narrowing down your choices and your skills as well. Working out. This is probably my biggest problem with most people that at least we've interacted with, is they always complain about not doing something that they like or not discovering something that they like, yet when they're faced with the opportunity of doing something new, they're very quick to just go, not for me. And it's like, you know, well, have fun doing whatever you don't like then for the rest of your life, because that's the way, unfortunately, it's going to work out for you. There's a weird question. I'm just going to put it out there. What's your biggest problem with people my age? Because you explained you're slightly older than me. What's your biggest problem with 21-year-olds?
With 21-year-olds, I don't know. That's a really tricky question, actually. I think. Well, do I have a problem with 21-year-olds? No, okay, right. Let's disclosure. All right. not all 21-year-olds are the same. So, so if I have a problem with one 21-year-old, it's not with all 21-year-olds. But I think that one thing that slightly annoys me, and I was the same when I was 21, but one thing that slightly annoys me is when people think that they are instantly gonna achieve something and put in no effort because they've just been handed it on their plate, on this silver platter for their whole life, and then they they finish uni or whatever, and they step into the big wide world, and it's a bit daunting, and they will realize, but they'll just complain about it. They don't do anything about it. That's what a lot of people do at this age, I feel. Not everyone. I think a lot of people don't, but
I think as well, you've got to fall in love with the grind. Because for me, I love struggling. I love knowing that I'm like 2% of the way right now, and I need to do all of this to get there. It's like that's where the fun bit comes. If someone just gave me an opportunity, like it said here on a silver platter, this is what I'd probably just go no, because it's not something that I've created or I've caused through hard work, dedication, a lot of sacrifice. They're the things that I live for, that I think everyone should live for, because that's living. If we lived in utopia, the first thing we'd do was we'd destroy it because it's just not right. But it reminds me as well that there's an Alec Baldwin sketch or quote where he says that some people who want to get into, the entertainment business think that there's this group of like guys in black suits who just knock on doors in like suburbs and go, "We've heard your son's very talented. Would he like to come and star in this Hollywood film?" It's like, no, it does not work like that. They've done commercials. They've done things they regret, things they're not proud of, loads of different things just to get to that one big opportunity. But I think it's the journey that's all important and all exciting.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Everyone needs that grind to get there, and everyone will go through a lot of shit. But there's always going to be, if you try hard enough, there's going to be that breakthrough moment. If you throw enough shit, some will stick.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just gotta work hard.
Yeah, I think as well, it's almost like you treat like a roulette, because there is luck. Of course, there's luck, and people's definition of luck changes. But how I see it is, I've got this job, I've got this book, I've got this song, I've got this podcast, I've got this, I've got that. And I've put it all on a roulette wheel, and every day I'll spin it and I'll work on one of those things, right? And then you'll keep spinning it, and one day one of them will be the jackpot, right? But the hard work came from getting all those things up to standard that they can be on your roulette table, right? And you keep spinning, and exactly as you said, the more you throw, something is bound to stick. So 100, yeah. So mining, why?
Mining, well, I guess it's, my character has always been that I've been a bit adventurous, love the outdoors. I've been quite sciencey. I mean, because I'm artistic in one sense, but I'm also like, I love the sciences, and I love working out how things work. And back at school, I was good at chemistry, physics, biology, geography. I was good at, and then we got offered to study geology at A levels, and like most people, when they discover a passion, I had a great teacher, and she really enthused me with geology, and I was like, this is fantastic. Oh my god, like it's all of the sciences, everything that I've been good at and kind of enjoyed, like working out how something happens, down into one, working out how our planet works. And then so I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do at uni. And then so I was discovering some uni courses, as you do when you're 17, 18, browsing the internet, and I came across Cardiff University had a exploration and resource geology undergrad degree, and I thought, oh, that sounds exciting. Looked a bit more into it because everyone else had like just straight geology, or a couple of places had applied geology, but it didn't really sound as sexy as exploration and resource geology, did it? Yeah. And then so I went to all these different unis. I went to like Royal Holloway, Manchester, Birmingham. I went to Cardiff Uni, and got offered a place at all of these unis, and I was like, and some of them on the rankings are higher than Cardiff, but I was like, I had in my head, I was like, this is just cool, you know. This is the kind of stuff I like, you know. I'm adventurous. I want to have that exploring. I want to have some kind of application to geology as well, you know. I like to know how things work, but I'm also a doer. So I went to Cardiff, loved it, doing that. But then after my undergrad, I slipped into it's difficult getting a job in mining just with an undergrad degree, just with a bachelor's, and so I went, and I'm very fortunate, I'm very privileged, the fact that my parents work in TV. So I went and got a bit of a leg up, got a few couple of years work in the TV industry, and was really enjoying it then. And then COVID hit.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I was like, and you know, and then so you go from working in an office and having great fun with TV, and I loved it. I loved my time in TV. But then you're sat at home doing things, and like it just so happened that a few really boring projects came my way all at the same time, and I thought, oh, you know, COVID's hit. It's all a bit of a break. I'm going to see whether, you know, I'm going to do a bit of research into doing a master's, because, you know, Camborne School of Mines, where I am now, it had always been like a place where, yeah, if you do well at your undergrad, then, you know, you go there to go get the job into the mining industry. And so I thought, oh, you know,
that extra bit so you can work.
Yeah.
Saying that an undergrad is not quite enough, you need that extra.
Yeah, I mean, because it's competitive, the mining industry, you know, getting into it. And so and I'd also recently, when I was in TV, I'd done research for a show that never got made, but I learned about how important the mining industry was going to be for sustainability, and like, you know, solar panels and electric cars and all this, that, and the other, and how we'll need a shit ton of resources to be able to do all this stuff. And I thought, okay, yeah, this is actually really interesting. I'm going to go and do my master's in mining geology at Camborne School of Mines. I applied, got the place, and yeah, so I came in September, doing that now.
What do you think is kind of like the future with regards to mining? Because obviously I keep hearing loads of different things from loads of different people. Oh, we're always going to need coal. Oh, oil's still the future. Oh no, everyone's going to be looking for copper, zinc, and all this other stuff. What is the one material that is currently, you know, a bit scarce that we need more of with regards to sustainability?
Oh mate, I wouldn't be able to name one, because there's a shit ton. There's so many. So yeah, so copper is a big one. Most people think, oh, copper's really common, you know, you have it on a penny or a 2p coin or whatever. But I think to be able to have all the wind turbines and all the electrics, copper is used in every single piece of electric equipment that we have, whether it's cables or actually in circuit boards or anything like that, it's used in it. We'll need about double of it, twice as much of it in the next couple of decades. Where that's going to come from, you know, who knows? We'll also need a ton of like
Ollie Blagden.
specialist metals.
You're gonna come across it, I'm sure, mate.
Yeah, maybe one day. Yeah, that's the thing, is you have to have optimism when you work in the mining industry as well, because it's difficult. So you've always got to think, I'm going to do that.
You've done this masters, you've done your undergrad, done all this stuff, the DJing, the cycling, the TV production. You've had quite an exciting 20s, really, just so far, and you've kind of got like a mark in the sand now, where it's another stage you're going into. Do you think you would have got this far if you hadn't had a bit of confidence and a bit of, fuck you to the haters?
Yeah, definitely. I think that, I mean, so I think it goes back to when I was at school, right? I wasn't the best behaved boy when I was at secondary school. Year 7, 8, 9 were a lot of times outside the headmaster's office, head of key stage, just all. I don't think I had like a lunch for an entire year or something, because I was always in detention. And then a lot of these people, I mean, quite rightfully, I would as well, but they grew to hate me a little bit. and then rowing came along. I matured a bit. It gave me that that determination, and that kind of it gave me a bit of a wake-up call as well, to the fact that okay, I've actually got to do some work for once, and then so with that, then I became a bit better. Sixth form, people kind of, certain teachers weren't exactly the best to me again, and I finally got into Cardiff Uni out of some hard work, and I thought, yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
and then with the cycling as well, it was not necessarily, so I ruined my rowing career, where I got hit by a car and messed up my shoulder. And I was determined to get into cycling and be good at that, because I've been really good at rowing, and came back to rowing after my shoulder by an operation and fixed it all. So a year later, started rowing again. I thought, this is crap, but then with the cycling, I was like, I'm not going to finish there. I'm not going to finish just below that kind of top level. I'm going to make it all the way there. And so I think, when it comes to kind of confidence and that success in things, it's knowing that, yeah, I'm going to get there. Yeah. Because that's what I want. And yeah, you're going to find a way.
Yeah, I think in some ways it's almost being a bit daft as part of confidence as well. Setting impossible tasks and impossible goals, and thinking, yeah, okay, it's really hard. Yeah, everyone else around me is telling me you're not going to be able to do that. But imagine if I did, right? Imagine if I pulled it off, then I could turn around and go,
yeah, exactly.
You doubt now, and now I've done it. And the whole time you were thinking, I'm probably not going to do this, but you ended up doing it.
I remember with the cycling, there was one guy at the first cycling club I went to. I wasn't very good back in the day, but I was all right. I was like a reasonable level for a club standard in my first couple of years of being a cyclist. And like first year, and like there was a guy at the club who said, oh, he was asked, so what do you want to do in the future, one time to me. I was like, oh, I'm going to be a professional cyclist. He said, are you sure about that? And he was like, I think you need to have some other goals. Are you sure you don't want to go to uni? Well, you're a clever lad. Do you want to go to uni? I thought, mate, don't tell me this. I'm going to do this. All right. Yeah. I'm going to prove you wrong. And I did prove him wrong.
Yeah. And
I absolutely proved him wrong.
It's so much sweeter achieving something that everyone else said, nah, it's not going to work. I do in a very sadistic way relish it. But yeah, No, but
Yeah.
Ollie, absolutely fantastic chat. We just got to quickly say that we've got a track coming out. What's it called, Ollie?
So it's called Mr. Raver.
Yeah.
It's got Linus Lampe, the Triple L, featuring on it. Or I say featuring, he's kind of like the main part of it. But yeah, it's an absolute banger. I'm so happy with it. We'll be releasing it sometime in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm sure you'll hear by the time this podcast comes out, you'll be hearing endless news about it.
If you're lucky as well, I'm not sure if I can get my act together. There might be a teaser, little trailer at the end of this podcast as well for it. So we're really looking forward to it. This will be episode 8 of the Solvitur podcast. I am Linus Leo Lampe. This is Ollie Blagden. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, if not today, then when? Thank you very much. And you can find us on your socials, etc., etc.
Love that deep house, love that sound. Top floor with me, whipped and bound. Young models, that's heaven finally found. Bass reverberating through the ground. Got my off-white keys, yeah, I'm a raver. Yeah, shades and a bit of that naughty behaviour. Kissing birds and flapping off their favour. Yeah, that's right, call me Mr. Raver.